Guys, if you play Ghost Recon Wildlands, you may be excited to hear that Ubisoft has dropped their title update 2, which they called on Twitter Patch 2.0, so this is an update for the game. If you're playing on PC, this came out for you yesterday as of when I'm uploading this video on 23rd of March. For consoles, for Xbox One and PS4, it drops today. So let me give you an intro to it. We'll read through the patch notes and go over the details and see what they've done. So it starts, hello ghosts! We would like to announce the patch notes for our title update 2, available on PC on March 22nd and PS4, Xbox One on March 23rd during morning UTC. We will have a small maintenance in order to update our servers. The development team focused on improving all areas of the game, from gameplay content to connectivity and stability tweaks. The patch size will be around 3 gigs on consoles and up to 5 gigs on PC, depending on your client, and in-game notification will let you know when it's available. Players in-game will need to reboot the game to apply the patch. Please remember that in order to play co-op, all the players will need to have the same version of the game. In addition to that, following the community feedback we've received, we've implemented the option to turn off the radios in the game by default, as well as the option to choose type of vehicle you want to spawn when using the vehicle drop rebel skill. Now you should have even more tactical options to plan and execute your missions. Also, for those of you who love playing the most hardcore settings, with all your HUD elements turned off, we've implemented the option to choose which type intel you want to collect when interacting with files or non-player characters. This way the gameplay flow won't be interrupted and you'll be able to discover new missions, skills and weapons seamlessly, even with all the visual tips turned off. You can find some PC specific fixes and improvements at the end of the notes. On top of the other fixes, the home, end, insert, delete, page up and page down keys can now be remapped, making life easier for some players, especially the left-handed ones. Thanks for your suggestions, ghosts. So let's have a look then guys at the details of the patch notes. This will take a few minutes to go through, but we'll get a much better idea of what they've changed, what they've upgraded or fixed. It starts with missions and narration. We received reports of some players having issues with certain missions in the game. After investigating the causes, we've implemented fixes so they can now have a smooth experience. We also fixed an XP farming exploit related to the Rebellion Rising mission, which created interference with the co-op experience. So here are their points that they've put in their notes. So adjusted various missions markers in GPS pathfinding. The following missions are now unlocked correctly for players who reported issues: Gold Rush, Sueños Proposition, Sandoval Dead Body, and El Cerebro. They've adjusted various mission triggers in order to smoothen the player's progress and game experience, fixed situations where dialogue and barks would not trigger correctly. I don't know exactly what they mean by barks there. I presume they're not referring to dog barks, but maybe orders barked from your ghosts? I don't know. The following missions are now replayable: El Cerebro, Boss Missions, Sandoval Confession, and Western Cocaine Cache. Now, by boss missions, I wonder if they mean the Buchon missions? So if those are replayable, that'll be interesting. That means you can go back, because there are quite a lot of those in the game. Go back and play those, that'll be cool. They fixed Infinite XP farming exploit on Rebellion Rising mission, and NPCs, non-player characters, now exit the vehicle properly in Stop the Convoy missions. So user interface changes guys. We implemented various fixes and tweaks related to trophy and weapon packs unlocking. We also fixed an issue related to the character smith model not being positioned correctly. On top of that, players who love to play with the HUD completely hidden will now be able to select the type of intel they want to collect when they interact with files or NPCs. So, players can now select what intel they want to collect, even with all the HUD options turned off. Trophy requirement adjustments, so trophies and achievements this is talking about. The champion, eagle-eyed, and with a pistol. So for reference guys, I've got a list of all the achievements and trophies on a post on my website, and that lists all of the achievements and trophies and their requirements as they were before. So the champion requirement is maxed out your XP and levels. Now, as the XP and levels relate to your character through the progression of the game, I don't feel I'm actually that far into the game yet, and I'm already 50% through this achievement. So maybe they've increased the number of levels that your player can get and the XP that you can earn. That'll be interesting, that'll be good, more to earn. Eagle-Eyed is mark 100 enemies with the binoculars. So I don't know whether they're going to make this easier or harder. I rarely use the binoculars. As you guys may know if you watch my series, I've been trying to use the binoculars more and I'm 92% through that at the moment. If they've made it harder, then I guess I've got a bit more spotting to do with my binoculars, but we'll see what that changes. With a pistol was quite an easy trophy to achieve. It was took out a sniper with a pistol, and there are lots of opportunities to do this in the game. You don't need to face them head on, you can sneak up behind quite a lot of the snipers. Once you've identified where they are, you can get them with a pistol quite easily. So maybe they've made that more difficult, we'll find out. Maybe they've made it like take out 5 snipers with a pistol now, we'll see. Fixed some weapon packs not unlocking properly, the underbarrels and rails pack. Fixed character hiding behind menus in certain situations, and HUD now updates when XP boosters are active. So for co-op play guys, we detected some replication issues during cooperative sessions between players. This patch should provide a more consistent experience between ghosts sharing the same game session. So they've corrected various replication issues such as paint jobs and attachments not showing correctly in the lobby, rebel radio explosion not synchronizing, sniper scope glare effect not synchronizing, players seen running beside VHC or bike they should be sitting in, suppressor not synchronizing when removed from a vehicle's shooting position, burning corpses from systemic events, and explosion not replicating if the distance is too high. The following achievements, so this is discussing achievements and trophies again, should now be awarded to all the players in the 2 missions below. When they say missions, they mean these 2 achievements and trophies. A better mousetrap, which is killed 7 enemies with a single mine. So I guess if any of you do that while you're playing co-op, you all get awarded with that achievement. And the cluster bomber, which has killed 7 enemies with a single C4 blast, so the same applies there I think. Fixed a bug where hits would register with a half-second lag, fixed kick, ban, vote notifications, and fixed game freezes in 4-player sessions. So there's quite a lot there guys. If you play co-op, you probably notice quite a lot of these will be improvements to your game I assume. I don't play co-op yet, I've been working my way through the game single-handedly so that I can record all my gameplay for you guys and you can see that on my channel. But yeah, it sounds like there's some improvements here. The one where it says players seen running beside VHC and or bikes they should be sitting in, I'm sure has allowed for some amusing moments for you, but that sounds like it'll be no more. Anyway, connectivity improvements. We detected and fixed some issues that were causing some players disconnections. The experience should be more solid after the patch. So this can only be a good thing guys. They fixed various disconnection bugs, fixed a bug where the user could not reconnect to a previous session, and fixed errors when looking for public sessions. So that can only be good. Gameplay improvements. Added fixes and improvements for gameplay related issues and requests that some players reported. Players can now select a vehicle they want to spawn when using the drop vehicle rebel skill. Now I talked about this recently in a video I recorded that I've not posted yet, but I realised as you improve the drop vehicle rebel skill, you start off with a fairly crappy pickup, you then upgrade to level 2 which is a really cool armoured vehicle with a mounted gun, and then level 3, when you get up there, is a helicopter. Now the helicopter is faster for getting around the map, but that armoured vehicle is kind of a beast, so when you have a situation where you want an armoured vehicle to be called in and you want that support, losing that when you've upgraded to level 3 with a helicopter, it almost feels like a downgrade guys, so this sounds like a really good fix. But let's run through the list of what they fixed for gameplay. So fixed XP awarded when killing an enemy undetected. That sounds good. For us, I'm trying to stealth the game, so the more enemies I can kill undetected the better for earning XP. Fixed a bug where sometimes vehicle seats could stay booked after NPC exiting, which I guess would mean you can't get in a seat once an NPC has got out, so that should be fixed. Fixed a bug where the player would take cover too far from certain props. Now I've definitely seen an issue where sometimes I can't take cover behind any props at all, so we'll see if this fixes that issue. That would be really good. player can no longer teleport to safe houses while being hunted. The medical helicopter will now spawn correctly on the Tobacco area side mission. Fixed bikes not slowing down in water, so I guess that means if you're ploughing through a river or using a river as a route while you're on a bike, it's now going to be slower, guys. Fixed flash grenades not stopping detection. Fixed an occasional instant game over when falling off a dirt bike. Yeah, that could be a problem. Fixed a bug where sometimes the player could not tag enemies after hot joining. Adjusted damage caused by explosives in arcade difficulty. Fixed an issue where sometimes pilots didn't die after AI helicopter crash. And fixed a situation where sometimes vehicles disappeared when driving at high speed. So they've also made some changes to the audio in the game. We implemented some fixes and improvements related to some audio aspects of the game, as well as the option to mute radios for those players who requested it. Now the radios, if you've played the game, you'll know the radios are everywhere in the game. If you find them, you can shoot them, but you'll probably still hear another one not too far away. They're also really loud. So this option could be particularly useful for some people who are bugged by those radios. The radios, I have to say, the radios can be quite amusing. They're interesting. Sometimes they're playing music, sometimes you're getting an interview from DJ Perico, sometimes they're giving you information. They can be quite entertaining, but nevertheless, they can also, I can see how people could be annoyed with those, so the option to remove them or mute them could be really good. So they've added a feature allowing the player to mute every radio in the game. Fixed car radio not functioning in various situations. Amplified the radio voice effects to avoid player confusing El Sueño's voice on the radio and one of the ghosts, and the introduction video mix has been enhanced. So there are also some graphics improvements to the game. We focused on fixing various issues in order to provide a solid experience. The stability and performance improvements, see the section below. Fixed player models appearing with twisted limbs if they were killed in certain positions. I don't think I've seen that, but some of the positions guys can end up in when you've killed them can be hilarious. Fixed low resolution textures appearing while aiming and driving. Fixed camera clipping through some textures and props. Fixed missing textures in certain environments. Fixed drone showing blur effect on objects. And fixed the textures flickering when using parachute or helicopter. I can't say I've experienced any of those, I don't think, but there's a lot of players in the game, so I'm sure some of you will have done. There are some stability fixes. They fixed various crashes and fixed an occasional infinite loading screen after validating settings at first launch. In the world, they've fixed various world building glitches and fixed some world parts where the player could get stuck. Now I have definitely experienced that in the beta when I played it. I decided I would run down a hill through some rocks and ended up getting stuck in the middle of a load of rocks where I couldn't get through a gap and I couldn't climb out, and I had to quit the game and restart somewhere else. I could have just fast travelled, I suppose, to a rally point, but you don't want to be getting stuck when you're playing. So finally guys, for those of you playing on PC, there are some PC specific improvements. So graphics improvements, added the SMAA anti-aliasing mode, added a notification for anti-aliasing recommendations in multiple GPU setups, addressed a series of issues causing flickering in multi-GPU setups, and fixed an issue with HUD scaling in 4-monitor multi-display setups, for those of you lucky enough to be playing on a 4-monitor multi-display setup. So they've also improved user experience and interface. They've added support to bind home, end, insert, delete, page up and page down keys. They've added several menu navigation improvements with mouse and keyboard. They've added a notification if the video driver is outdated, added a notification when the system is low on free RAM and starts writing to virtual memory, fixed a HUD issue in co-op for users who've already completed the selected mission, and fixed the pitch icon display when using mouse to steer helicopters. For co-op, they fixed an issue with co-op sharing of systemic activities. They fixed the use of push-to-talk in the co-op lobby. For controls, they've changed the Enable Controller default option to only gamepads, and addressed a number of issues with the Steam controller icons and functionality. For performance, they've addressed a series of random crashes encountered by users, fixed an issue causing frame rate drops when the saving icon was being displayed, fixed an issue where the menu was lagging while running the game on a hard disk drive, solved an issue with VRAM bar update when lowering resolution scaling, and some miscellaneous PC fixes to finish up, fixed a bug on the medication air transport mission in Tabacal, fixed an issue with character poses in Ansel, and solved a controls issue where one couldn't sprint from crouch or prone position. So that's it guys, this is the Title Update 2 patch notes. That's dropped yesterday for PC players, today for Xbox One and PS4 players. It's a fairly big download, but it fixes quite a lot of issues. Hopefully, if you guys have been finding problems, it's fixed issues for you. This has definitely fixed a few things I've noticed in the game. Is there anything else that you guys have noticed that hasn't been fixed that maybe you'd like to get addressed? Leave a comment below and let me know. I noticed for PC gamers they've added support to rebind some of the keys on the keyboard. I would like to see a little bit more of that for the console controller options. But otherwise, this is a pretty good patch guys. So guys, hopefully this update has been of use to you. If it has, please drop a like down below to let me know, and I will see you guys next time for more Ghost Recon Wildlands. Thanks for watching.